So, Kermit, can I call you Kermit?
Of course you can.
Okay, Kermit, great. Well, welcome to Building Safety Faces. Now, normally at this point, I explain who the person is, but I think everybody that's going to be watching this knows who you are. So
I've got a slight bit of a reputation, haven't I?
You have indeed. And I mean, I've met lots of well-known people through this. We've seen Jeremy Clarkson and been retweeted by James O'Brien. But you know, I think you're top animal, I would say. And I'm kind of blown away that you've said yes. So thank you very much for joining us.
No problem, Matt. I follow a lot of what you do with the Building Safety Register on Twitter, and I think you're fantastic. So thank you so much for having me on.
Wow, thank you very much, Kermit. So I'm going to kick off with the first question if I can. And I don't normally write questions down, but because I'm sort of so starstruck by having you on the screen, I've actually written some questions down. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get going.
Okay. So there's lots of media focus at the moment on the building safety crisis. And we talk about young people and we talk about people getting their foot on the housing ladder, like Hayley Tillotson, who I know you've tweeted about. But it's also really important to note that there's a huge number of older people, some pensioners. And I was looking at your Wikipedia page and I realized you became a pensioner this year.
Oh, don't go telling everybody that, Matt. I like to keep a low profile, especially about my age. But yeah, I mean, in regards to that, it's important to remember that, you know, those people who have retired, they don't have an income. So, you know, including myself. So when someone tells you that they have, you know, you got to start paying for then waking watch, insurance bills, fire alarms, your money just vanishes. And as I said, you know, these people don't have incomes. You know, we're not going to go back out and start working. I mean, I did. I had to go and do those terrible Muppet movie films for more recent years. But in terms, you know, of how bad it is currently, the pandemic with COVID-19 is obviously bad enough, trapping people in their homes, but for old age pensioners to go out and to try and get work to pay for these bills, it's just terrible.
It is. You're absolutely right. So moving on, okay, so we're thinking about Sesame Street now. So we know you've got some problems with Sesame Street. Okay, so you've been on the record to say the big bird's doing waking watch and all that sort of stuff. So I like to look at Google Earth and I like to look at images of buildings, and I remember as being a kid, Sesame Street, it's mainly brick, it's masonry, and it's fairly low rise. You know, it's well under 18 meters. So the question is, with all that brickwork, why are you having these EWS1 problems? You know, what's going on, or is it not as it appears on camera? You know, you're going to give us a secret here about what actually happens on Sesame Street.
Well, as you know, Matt, of all people, you know, how it looks on the outside compared to the inside can be very, very different. I can't go into too much detail on Sesame Street, but needless to say, there are some big problems. If the bills are passed to, you know, myself, Cookie, Elmo, we are screwed. It looks like they probably will be. We can't afford these extra costs, let alone the remediation bill. You know, we won't even get to that point. So Chris Pincher telling shady offshore building owners to collect service charges, you know, that's nuts.
Kermit, recently you asked me to be your phone a friend on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which was amazing. It was an honor. I still don't know whether you went on to win the million. And whenever I've asked you before, if we were setting up this meeting, you won't tell me, but I was hoping that as you're on Building Safety Faces, you might be able to give us an exclusive of what happened.
Well, I still don't know if you got that question right, Matt. As we all know, Jeremy Clarkson is a very busy man. So I actually haven't been back to the studio yet to see if I got it right. I don't believe I even set a safety net. So back down to 1,000 if you got it wrong for me, Matt, which I don't know how much 1,000 pounds is going to cover these days.
Not very much, I don't think. So, okay,
no,
we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think I need to win Who Wants to Be a Millionaire about 7 more times in order to pay towards anything.
Oh, well, okay, we've got everything crossed. Now, hopefully you'll publish that as soon as, you know, you put it out as soon as you've been back to the studio and you've got some film for us. So that's good.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so speaking of asking the audience, okay, so I don't normally do this, but for this one, because this is a special Building Safety Faces, I put out a tweet to the Gladiators on Friday last week saying, what would they like me to ask you? So are you okay to take a few quick fire questions from the audience?
Oh, absolutely. Anything for my fans.
Excellent. Okay, well, here we go. So this first one is from Richmond House residents. Now, Richmond House, I'm sure you know this, Kermit, but is in Worcester Park in South London. And they had a huge fire back in 2019 where lots of homeowners lost their homes in about 11 minutes, and they're still out. They're still, I think, arguing with the lawyers over being paid to get back and get their homes rebuilt. But so we've got everything crossed for them. But they've asked, and they're still talking and they're still involved. So they've asked, is Cladding Kermit concerned that the government is giving zero support to buildings under 18 metres like Sesame Street, even if they have defects that lead to a high risk of fire spreading? Risk assessors say expensive remediation works are needed, and fire chiefs are insisting on waking watch, and banks are not lending. So what do you think about that?
Well, Matt, I'm completely familiar with what happened in Richmond House and how quickly the fire spread and destroyed those homes, which, as you said, were under 18 meters. Their case is a clear example of why support is needed for these buildings, and it's so urgently needed. Fire doesn't follow rules about height. People like us in buildings under 18 meters, we're even more vulnerable because we have no resource at all, no funding. We're on our own completely. It's a scary thought. I know a lot of people here are worried about more than just the financial situation and possible fires. It's just being financially attacked from all angles.
Yeah, no, you're very right. So this question, next one, is from Alison Hills. So Alison, you might know, but she's with her neighbours live in St Albans, and they're the ones that are facing bills of 150 to over 200,000 pounds for remediation. So they've been around. But Alison asks, if you met him, what would you say to Robert Jenrick?
Well, that is a fantastic question. You said I have to keep it calm on this Building Safety Faces, right? Okay, all right. I'll try and hold myself together here.
Okay, Kevin.
First off, hello, Alison. Alison is another story I am completely familiar with. I saw some of the tweets about the bills. One of them made Elmo pass out. If I met Robert Jenrick, I'd say, Robert, stop being a Muppet. Sort this out. And that's coming from me. He must know that millions of people are suffering, even though he's another millionaire like Michael Wade in Lara Croft's mansion. They must know how bad it truly is. But they're just keeping up appearances in front of the media with nonsense about how they're doing on ACM. I would tell him that the public admire honest politicians who do their best by the people, not those that come up with PR spin about trees and pets. All us leaseholders don't care who sorts the cladding scandal out. Labor, conservative, we want to work together. This goes so far beyond politics.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kermit. Okay, so the next one from Cladding's Cave. Now, I don't know Cladding's Cave apart from being on Twitter, but I don't know them personally. But,
fantastic name, by the way.
It is good, isn't it? It's good.
Yeah, it's
so
very good.
What made you support all the gladiators in this wonderful way?
So I would say I wanted to try and get the message of the cladding scandal and the building safety scandal to as many people as I possibly can. As you all know, I'm bright green, so I like to think I'm quite eye-catching, especially when I pose. But I would say as well, I just wanted to bring a smile to as many leaseholders' faces as I could. It's a horrible, horrible time for a lot of people, and I like to think that just a smile is nice, and people need it right now.
Fantastic, that's good. So this one is from M&M Buildings, not
M&M,
the singer, M&M as the chocolates, I think. When is Cookie's speech in Parliament? Now, I think this has already been answered by your latest tweet. So I'll move on to the next question.
Okay, no problem.
will he do a performance of the Rainbow Connection?
A full performance of the Rainbow Connection. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely put something out there into the Twitter sphere for all of the fans of the Rainbow Connection. Yeah, absolutely. I can start recording as soon as possible.
Well, that's an exclusive. Thank you, Kermit. That's great.
Yeah,
so
no problem.
I know you're tight for time because you've got a lot going on. You're a busy frog, as I put in my tweets. So I just wanted to ask, there have been some rumours circulating, and I've got to bring them to you, Kermit.
Okay.
About Miss Piggy. And this is in some of the WhatsApp groups that you might not be a member of, but...
oh God, okay.
Right, so the rumour is that she took a shine to your EWS1 surveyor and she's run off with him. Is there any truth in that rumour, or is that just gossip?
Well, that is massive news to me, Matt. I was not aware that she had taken a shine to the EWS1 surveyor, or as Boris calls it, the UC surveyor. So not particularly a lot of truth in that rumor. She's not here at the moment, but I know that she's definitely not taking any shine to anybody else apart from her green Kermit, as she calls me.
Good, that's perfect. Well, Kermit, we're out of time. Can I just finish by saying it has just been a huge pleasure, an honour to meet you, although we've spoken a few times through email and all those sorts of things. Can you say hi from me to Cookie, Elmo, Big Bird and the rest of the gang as well? Because I think, although they're not on the camera very often, they're all suffering with you. And just a big thank you, I think, from everybody, all of your fans, for what you're doing for the building safety crisis. So thank you very much.
No, thank you so much, Matt. And thank you, honestly, for all of your hard work as well. And thank you for having me on the Building Safety Faces today. Thank you.